Okay, so we're going to do landing checks for all 9 LVTs. And you always start in this game from the west, right? Because we're invading from the north. So you always start from the west or the right and you move this way. That goes for the LVT checks and then also checking Japanese actions. All right, so I'm going to pull 2 cards. The first one here tells us that they drift left. So we look at the drift. And then the second one tells us that, okay, as far as the units in the LVT are concerned, we've got 4 steps and 2 steps, and they're on the beach. So I call that a fat and happy. These guys are fat and happy on the beach. Nobody's reduced. So the LVT goes back to the available LVT box in good shape. And these guys, well, they had a drift to the left first, so they're, whoops, so they come over here. And then they move up along the spine, and they're going to go right there. Plop. Okay, not too bad. So now let's do this guy here. He's also drifting to the left, and then he's, only 2 steps make it. The LVT is destroyed, and they're inland too. Well, this isn't going to be good. All right, so K3-2 is reduced. All right, so drifting 1 to the left, and then inland 2. So first of all, let's find out where his beach is. Left, right, 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 and then inland 2 from there. It says they move along the hex road to the southwest. That would be this way. So inland 2 would be bleh. And the LVT is destroyed. Okay, let's see if the unit with Major Ryan has better success than that. 1 to the right, so they shift to the right actually. And then their card is, they are fat and happy, but they're inland too. All right, let's see where this goes. So they're going to go up the spine here, and inland 2 would be boom. So inland 2 from here is going to southwest, would be boom. We have our first close combat of the game. So when that happens, close combat happens immediately. Well, here we go. We're off to a fast start. And the LVT was fine. So I'm going to put the LVT back into the available LVT box. All right. Let's zoom in here. Let's reveal our enemy. Okay, that's not bad. So first you deal the cards for the US. You get 1 for every step that you have. We've got 4 steps, plus 1 if there's a flamethrower, plus 1 if there's a hero. And those plus 1s are if there's at least 1, not 1 for every. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, plus 1 for the hero, we get 5. For the Japanese, they get 1 for every counter. Well, there's 1 counter. 1 if their strength is 4 or more, they're only at strength 1. And 1 if their special weapon is close combat. So they only get 1. So 5 to 1, which you would think would be easy, but close combat in this game is deadly. Let me zoom back out here. All right, the Japanese get to fire first. Board's getting a little crowded here. And we are fighting in a blue position hex, okay? The hex that we came from. So you hit on blue. You flip this over, and of course, blue. I swear to God, they hit me every time. All right, so 2 things happen. One is the unit flips over, and then we lose a card, okay? Fortunately, the card we lost was not one with a blue. There are some close combat events on certain cards. You have to keep an eye out for those. Those happen before the hit happens. All right, so now they're out of cards. That's the good news. And we aren't. That's good news. So we get to keep flipping. So we're looking for a blue and hopefully no close combat events. Nothing. There's no events and there's no blue. We keep going. There we go. Blue, which is a hit. There's no close combat event that we have to deal with. Yes, so he is put into the, and I'm going to have to refresh myself. Oh, he's eliminated. He's removed from play because he's a low-level unit. He's got the white background, not red. So he is actually removed from play. Cards that you didn't flip over go back on top of the deck, and my system is always going to be Japanese leftover cards will go underneath American leftover cards and then back on the deck. That's just my system. All right, now we are victorious and in the hex alone. Okay, and a couple things happen. One is they're disrupted, right? Because they just went through close combat, so it's going to take a turn for them to recover. So we put a disrupted counter on top of them. Secondly, if you can see here, there's that artillery symbol, right? There are 12 artillery. I apologize for the glare, but we're not going to get around that. There are 12 artillery positions in the game, and they start with them all in control. So I just found some counters that came with the game, and I put them up here as a counter because you need to know how many they have. Certain cards will say the Japanese fire if they have at least 8 artillery. So you want to keep a running total of that somehow. So now we're down to 11. I don't have another one. I don't know. It gets weird. I just have to kind of know that that's 11. I don't know. Sorry, my arm in the camera here. 5. All right, you know what we'll do? We'll do this. We'll put a 6 and a 5 up there, okay? So now we know that they're down to 11. All right, next up, move the camera here. And we've got, all right, so let's do these guys first. Now that I've shown you the cards, well, I'll tell you what, I'll do it for this first turn and then I'll stop. So it's no drift, and then it's going to be Fat and Happy on the Beach. Okay, so I'm going to put the LVT back, and then this guy goes right up to there. Okay, this next guy is going to be drift 1 to the left over here, and he is wounded once, as the LVT is wounded once, but he ends up on the beach. All in all, not bad. So I flip the LVT to its reduced side, but it is available, goes into the box, and then he goes to the beach. Okay, and our engineers, no drift, and 4 steps of units. So the engineers make an attack. The LVT gets wounded, so he gets flipped, and they are inland 1, which is not so bad. All right, so at least they landed as a group, right? Okay, and then our last groups for turn 1, we're going to do our engineers. Drift 1 to the right, so they get pushed up right against the pier. And they are fat and happy on the beach. Okay. Fat and happy on the beach. So he goes back over here. Our LVTs have done pretty well. You can have some turns where you just get killed. And on future turns, there will not be enough LVT steps, and your guys will be walking. All right, so now let's do this guy. He's a drift 1 left, and the card is, the unit is fine. The LVT is reduced by 1, and he goes into the water. So a water hex is one of these guys. So that's as far as he's going to make it. Starting next turn, he's going to start walking 2 steps at a time and hopefully not get shot in the meantime. And our last guy, no drift, And his card is reduced 1. The LVT is fine. He's on the beach. So flip him to his side, and he's on the beach. We lost 1 LVT. We had 1 utter destruction. Not so bad. And we did pretty well here. All in all, I'm pretty happy. This, the bird's beak, is always a mess. It's just an absolute mess. Most of my mistakes in the game have come playing this over here, and I'm going to hopefully be more conservative this game. In fact, with this, I'm going to have to be more conservative. I mean, that's just, I have hardly any units to work with, and there's a lot of enemy, so, wow. Okay, that was the first landing phase. Let me reposition the camera here, if you would. All right, I'm still figuring out how to do all the camera business here with a map as large as this. The next step, you just follow the track up along the top. The next step is to draw an event card. However, we don't do that on turn 1. On turn 1, instead, we execute the event, add 2 depth markers to Japanese units. So I've already pulled them out here, and they need to go. There's a priority order, which is going to be closest to a US unit and then the lowest position number. So I believe it's going to come over here because we've got this guy's adjacent. He's F1. 1 is as low as it gets. So he gets a depth marker, and this guy gets, he's F3, okay? And when I check over here, oh, he's E1 actually, and E2. So I think D3. Okay, so looks to me like E1 and F1 are each going to get a marker. All right, that was that. Now we do the Japanese fire card. Our least favorite part of the game, right? All right, I'll flip this over, and I'll just hold it up here real close, okay? So, as you can see, we've got double yellow, red, and brown. You can ignore the action markers because they are not in play as of yet. Make sure my autofocus is working. All right. So we don't have to worry about any of the letters yet. The tank symbol means that units will hit tanks. We don't have any tanks in play yet. So we can ignore the symbol and the letters. So right now we're only looking for double yellows, okay? Now, double yellows, a double could be obviously a stack, so a unit and a depth marker is a double, but a double could also be 2 units in a position group. So let's just use this as an example. You see how these, all 3 of these are connected by like tunnels. So this is one position group. So if there were another red, you know, here or here, and a double red came up, they would activate because that's a double, all right? This guy, conversely, he doesn't have any buddies. He's not connected to anything, so he would need a depth marker if a double purple were to come up. So now I'm looking for double yellows. And I had a slight accident with the new tripod. There's a little suction cup on the bottom I didn't realize, and it stuck to the board, and when I pulled it up there was an earthquake, so some things might have shifted. Alright, so we're looking again for double yellows. Now at first it's kind of annoying because you don't know the board, but after you play a while you start to know the board. So there's a single yellow here. These are both blue. I know that. This guy's brown. I know that. He's a double red. Okay. Now here's a yellow, but fortunately this guy's a green. He doesn't have a buddy. Okay, so he's by himself, so he doesn't activate. So double yellow doesn't hurt us. Although we do need, yeah, no, double yellow doesn't activate. There's no double yellows that we have to worry about. So next is single red. Now single red means single red or more. So double reds will activate on a single red activation. I'm starting to think that red is the worst color in this game. I don't know if that's true. That's just, I've had games where red positions have hurt me more than others, but I seem to fear the red color more than others. All right. This guy's a single red, and he's going to fire. These guys are in a steady, not intense, a steady. And the fire symbol of the card is a circle. There we go. You can see, right? So, are these guys a circle? No, they're a diamond, fortunately. So he fires over their head. Misses. Okay? That's a blue. That's a yellow. There's no more red up here. So he misses. I know this position can be really tough, especially with guys in the water. But right now, not a problem. These are blue. Okay, I know that. That's brown. This is yellow. This is light green. This guy is blue. So, oh, you know what? I am sorry. Some of you are going, yes, you finally remembered, didn't you? Yes, I finally did. In the setup, the Japanese tanks all start with a disruption marker on them. Okay? So, I forgot that. This is a red. Okay? It's a single red. I mean, it's a double red, which will activate on a single red card. So the first thing they do, though, when they activate, if they have a disruption marker, is they lose the disruption marker. So we're saved one turn from this tank coming at us. Yuck. You know, I seem to remember last game the third tank started here instead of in the red, and he was a little bit farther away, and I kind of like that. This guy is a little scary up in our face like this. All right, I think we did all of the red checks. Now we have a brown. So now we're looking for, and there's a brown right here. And yeah, this guy's not long for the world. So this guy here, he's a triangle, right? And the card is a circle. However, he's in a solid, which means he's in a tense fire zone, which means he gets hit regardless. And when you get hit by an unrevealed Japanese unit, not only do you lose a step, but you get disrupted. And if I am going to make some mistakes in this game, it's going to be forgetting disruption markers, or sometimes I put them on when I shouldn't. Because if this guy were revealed, he wouldn't get a disruption marker. Hopefully I'll remember that this game. That kind of sucked, right? This guy is... He's dead. He's totally dead. I mean, we have like I don't know what we're gonna have to do. These engineers are gonna have to fight. Holy moly, I don't know what we're gonna do over there. I really don't. That is not looking good. Whew. Seriously, I don't think I've ever had such a bad start on this side of the board. All right, enough. Coming back over to the middle of the board. This guy's a brown, but fortunately our guys on the beach are not in the brown fire zone. Neither of these are brown, and he's not in brown. So, okay. And you have to remember to, check for your guys in the water, but nobody brown, this brown guy doesn't project any fire into the water, okay? The board is kind of insane to read at first, but this is the brown safe zone, so it's safe this way, brown, and then if you're in between this brown line and this brown line, you're not safe. So after you play the game, you start to see these things. So Nobody in the water was hurt. Okay, following our top track, and there's another place for an event card, but this doesn't kick in till turn 11. Okay, so we skip that. We also skip the U.S. Engineer and HQ phase until turn 11. And so now it's our action phase. We get to consider what the heck we're going to do with these guys over here. So let me think for a second. All right, so I see this board as a series of mini puzzles, which is actually really rather fun. And I always ask myself, you know, which puzzles are we going to solve? Because we get 3 actions plus any 3 actions plus any free actions that are granted by HQs or heroes. Now, Major Ryan over here is stacked with a unit, so he would normally get a free action, but he was disrupted from close combat on landing. So a unit with a disruption marker doesn't do anything, and then at the end of your action phase, you just get to remove the disruption marker. So we're down a unit that we would normally have, and I don't think we have any choice. This guy, I noticed, is in the yellow field of fire, but he's not in blue. So I think these guys have no choice but to shoot this guy. They're attacking across a seawall. These guys are in a building, so each of these provides a double. They're not cumulative, fortunately. So we're going to go ahead and give him an action to fire. So come on. Oh, okay, this is good. So he's doubled to 2. We attacked with 4, didn't we? And he wants a flamethrower. Oh, thank God. We got a little lucky here. Luckily, there wasn't a CC on there, something like that. So we have a flamethrower, right? You can see on the bottom engineer unit, he's got a demolitions and a flamethrower. So when we look at the table here that says, do you have the weapons? Yes, we have a flamethrower. The attack strength is at least double, 4 to 2. He's by himself. He's defeated. And for some reason, I always have to look at this. Oh, he has the red background. Okay, so he's an elite unit. So instead of going into the eliminated units, he goes right into the reserve box face down. And whenever I draw, when the game wants me to draw, I will, re-randomize these. So he's temporarily dead, but right now temporarily dead feels pretty darn good. Okay, there's that puzzle. And then likewise, I think we've got to do something here in the middle. I'm thinking, now when a unit or group fires, they get to take as many shots as they have units, including depth markers. So if a blue, Japanese fire symbol on the card comes out next time, this group will fire 3 times. Now, they can only hit 1 unit once. That's the good news. They couldn't hit this guy 3 times. That would be ridiculous. But they can fire 3 times. So I think we're going to try to shoot this guy with the hopes of maybe disrupting him, so that if this group activates, that's at least 2 shots that wouldn't. So, alright, so we're going to declare an attack right here. He's also doubled, but hey, okay, these coastal units are kind of wimpy sometimes. Sometimes you get, there'll be a little CC right here, which means you can't eliminate them unless you go into close combat, and those are tough. You got to root them out. But these ones here, it's pretty easy. So we're 7, doubled is 2. So you look at the chart, okay, and it says, do you have the weapons? Yes. You're at least doubled. Reveal the depth marker and consult the table again. So we reveal the depth marker. Okay, so now it changes. Now this guy, yeah, his you have to have artillery to destroy him, so we're going to need a tank. We don't have that. So when I look at the chart and it says, do you have the weapons? No, but is your strength at least double? Yes. Well, he's disrupted, and we have optional attrition, which I think we're going to do. So he's disrupted, which is great. And furthermore, we have the option of taking a hit, which we're going to do, and flip, because that's going to happen anyway, and then remove the depth marker. So that's one way to get rid of something without having to bring a tank in. So all in all, that was pretty good. So that was that. And then with our last action, I think one of these two stacks is going to attack. I mean, it's a real guessing game, right? So yellow came up. Do we think that maybe yellow won't come up again? Actually, this guy's protected. He's not in yellow. Oh, here's your answer. Here's your answer to this puzzle. If these guys were to attack him, he would be doubled because it's across a seawall. Oh, no, it's going to be doubled either way. This guy's going to attack him. He's in a building, so he's doubled. Here we go. Okay, now he needs a mortar. That's what the MO is, and we don't have a mortar. And he also needs to be flanked, which means he needs to be attacked just like this, which we could do on a future turn. But right now, we don't have the weapons. So when you don't have the weapons, but you at least double him, which we do 4-2, he is disrupted. So we at least do that. Disruption is fantastic, because then when their action gets called upon, when their color gets called upon to take an action, they won't act because they're disrupted. Speaking of disruption, at the end of the Japanese fire phase, I should have checked to remove any disruption markers from these colors. Now we just put these here so we know we don't check that, but this guy's purple, right? There's no purple, so he stays, and this guy is light green. Okay, I know that for a fact. He's light green, and light green is not on the card, so those two tanks will stay disrupted at least for another turn. Okay, and that is the end of turn one. Oh, one thing here. At the end of the turn, you pick up the cards. I like to leave the fire card here, just as a reminder, so in case I forgot to remove disruption markers, or if I forgot to check for an artillery event, I just like to keep that there. So I'm going to keep the fire card there. I'm going to put these here. And then it just says if the discard pile is noticeably thinner than the draw deck, you should reshuffle. So it's really a personal thing. Right now we're about 50-50 or so there'll be no reshuffling. Okay, something I forgot to do, again, just because I'm managing a camera and trying to talk on camera and I'm forgetting things, is after we did the landing checks, okay, we should have set up our units for the next turn. So you have to kind of commit them before you get to see what happens on land. But it's no big deal. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. We've got 2 for red 1, 2 for red 2, and 2 for red 3. And I think we want these guys to hopefully come in here. I think that would help with this, and then we could connect all these guys. So I think that's a no-brainer. These guys, yeah, again, I think it's a no-brainer. I think I want to keep them in here, and if they can come up here and join these guys until we get this cleared out. I like to be real strong here and then work my way out. I don't think I need them coming down here and trying to do anything on their own. Now here's a question. Where do we want these two guys to come in? Do we want them to come in here? I think we're gonna aim for this. I think we're gonna put them in the middle, understanding that they could drift. And they could drift as far as over here. I think I'm okay with that. Then I could link up with him, and then that might be okay. All right, so we fixed that. So now turn one truly and really is over.